a block of money, $250,000 allocated for that. So, I don't want to see this ride on for 3 or 6 months or a year. We need to move forward with that contract or go out for the RFP on that right away. So is that going to slow up the process if we take the time to dedicate some funding for that?
I don't think that will so much slow up the process. In my discussions with the executive council, it will probably take us at least 3 months to develop the framework of the discussion they'd like to have about their needs for the lake. So we're not at the point where we can entertain further work until we work out some of those contractual arrangements with the scouting organization. There are a number of people that are concerned about that project, and they want to move slowly to make sure that everyone's needs are addressed. The more immediate concern, more immediate than it is particularly for the county, is the city of Willits has gone, I think, to a stage 3 water conservation measures because they're running out of water. So there may be a need to engage on that portion, at least on a temporary basis with a pipeline first with the city of Willits. So I think, like all things we do that involve negotiations and legal agreements, that's where the bulk of our time will be spent over the next 3 months before we start talking about more studies.
Well, I appreciate that, but there is, we know the project isn't going to be online this year. But, if you stall it off 2, 3, 4 months, do that 2 or 3 times, then that gets into the next couple of years. So there is a sense of urgency on this issue, and I want to somehow reflect that in this budget process, that it is a priority and an urgency, especially the priority, because it's not even addressed in the budget. And so,
well, I think your board did give us direction by a 5-0 vote that was your number one priority for projects, and we're proceeding under that assumption.
okay.
And I also believe, from the chair's point of view, that's the one and only additional project that's proposed for this budget. So,
I'd like to bring up a couple issues. In reviewing the line items, through the whole county system, we're spending $159,725 on memberships to different organizations in this county. And we're also spending $665,780 a year on out-of-county travel. My proposal is if we could just give direction to all departments and spread it to all departments out there, is if they could reduce their appropriations in those 2 areas, out-of-county travel and memberships, which would probably be letting those departments that are affected, including the CEO's office, including the clerk of the board, everybody, and find out what conventions are necessary and what maybe are secondary. And if we could come up with just a 20% overall reduction, it would give us about $165,000 that we could put in a contingency fund. It's a very simple. I just feel when it comes tight times, when it comes to out-of-county travel, I don't think cutting back 20%, probably on your out-of-county travel, 20% cutback would just make the difference if you're going to a convention to book it early and get a better deal on your airline flight or something like that. So I don't think 20% is a lot to ask when it comes to memberships and out-of-county travel. And for instance, I think it's up for discussion. We spend a lot of money being a member of the RCRC? And frankly, I don't believe that Supervisor Colfax went to a meeting last year, did you, Supervisor?
Well, I had a conflict, Johnny.
Yeah, well, I didn't either, and I'm the alternate. My point of it is, maybe that's something we need to look at. But I don't believe that a 20% reduction in out-of-county travel or in memberships would be a large hit on the operations of our departments. And I think it's something, I'd like to throw that as an idea, that if we line item and cut them back 20%, then that would give us a contingency amount of about $165,000.
Well, Supervisor Pinches, I don't disagree with you with your overall philosophy, but you always have to make it, when you're looking at budget reductions, you always have to take a look at what's a general fund expenditure versus what is a revenue offset from another agency. HHSA agency, for instance, the Sheriff's Department, those are agencies that incur a lot of travel, but those are either reimbursed through post or reimbursed through state and federal funds. So I think it's certainly worthy of asking the questions of the departments. What could they cut back, and we can give them a recommendation. But I don't think there's an overall number you can pick out without looking at the revenue side where your offsets are coming to. RCRC has not. I've not been able to go to any of those meetings myself this year because of the workload. We are members for the first time this last year, and I would say that I think there are benefits to be derived from that membership. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time at the board level or the CEO's office to participate, and that might be a possible cut.
Yeah, I'm not saying there aren't benefits, and I understand the difference in the general fund, but I think that should be a goal that we should shoot for. And frankly, if it's not a priority, I don't care if it's federal, state, or local tax dollars. I think in tight budget times that we should look at that. Just because it's no savings to our general fund doesn't mean that we shouldn't look at, because I know when I pay my taxes, it all comes out of the same checkbook.
Okay. Supervisor Smith. I'm sorry, Ms. Clancy? Comment?
I think Tom had an excellent point. If you're taking just a general item out of the budget, overall budget, and this is a generalization, so I want to be really clear, it's